Hey everyone listening, trying to find direction and move with intention. Welcome to Moving with Intention, a podcast by Black Sheep Coaching. We hope the episode you're about to listen to is empowering, insightful, and helpful. We hope you're moving with intention in your life and taking actions, as small as they may be, towards becoming the person you want to be and living the life you want to live. Disclaimer: this podcast may contain discussion of sensitive topics that may trigger some individuals. Listener discretion is advised. This podcast is not a substitute for mental health professionals or resources, and we encourage you to seek those out should you need them. Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of Moving with Intention. This episode is just going to be a small introduction to who I am, why moving with intention, what my hopes are for the podcast, and what you can hope to get out of the podcast as well. So, I'll just start from the top. My name is Scott. Um, I am a Canadian. I am also a software engineer and a certified professional coach. I might have just blown some minds there, and people tend to ask me, what in the world's going on? And I think I can explain it pretty well. I think for me in my career, as I moved up the corporate ladder, the notion of guidance and mentorship and coaching just came with the job. As you start to move into middle management and as I started to move into kind of these more managementy roles, being able to mentor and guide and provide feedback and communicate and coach those underneath me became much more important. And in doing so, I noticed that there were some gaps in my skill set. As somebody who was a software engineer and is a software engineer, I tend to be on the more logical side of things. So sometimes the notion of, emotional intelligence and communication and some of those soft skills, some of those fell to the wayside, and that can cause conflict. So I enrolled myself in a coaching program to work on those skills and to understand how to better help and guide and mentor and coach. In doing so, I went through a world of changes. I started to listen more actively. I started to communicate better. I started to be able to advocate for my needs and needs of others in a healthier way. And I think that's why some of these skills are extremely important. And the reason for moving with intention is that once I started being intentional about learning these skills, once I started being intentional about improving relationships, improving my life, working through um, some of my flaws and identifying and being aware of some of my failures and understanding that I could learn from them and grow from them, I started to feel more fulfilled. I started to feel happier. And I think a lot of that came from moving with intention, from setting my intentions, finding my direction, setting my intentions, and then moving in that direction. So, my hopes for this podcast are that through stories and through sharing and through skills and through some of the things I have learned, that you too can work to find your direction. You can work to set small goals and little actions. You can work to build your confidence and self esteem. And you can move very intentionally towards your goals. My hopes for this podcast are, as cliche as it sounds, to help one person. If it helps one person, that's fulfilling for me. I think sometimes we can get dealt a bad hand. I think sometimes life can be extremely challenging. And I know that for some people, trying to find that direction, trying to take those small actions, and trying to be intentional about the changes they want to see in their life, I understand that that can be difficult and it can be daunting. So I just hope to share insight. I hope to have conversation. I hope to give you little knowledge nuggets, I call them. Perhaps little things that might just click for you, those light bulb moments. And I see them in my one on one coaching. I see those light bulb moments where someone's eyes light up and you know that what was said had a profound impact. And I hope that there are aspects of this podcast that may have a similar impact on you. I hope that through this podcast, you can start to implement little changes in your life or take little actions, and take little steps that will get you where you want to be. I appreciate each and every one of you listening, and I hope you find this podcast insightful, empowering, and valuable. I'd like to thank you all for listening. A small reminder that you can find all our links on linktree/blacksheepcoaching. That's linktr.ee/blacksheepcoaching. It would also mean a lot if you could support the podcast by subscribing, liking, sharing, or becoming a patron on Patreon. I hope this episode assisted you in finding direction and moving with intention. And remember that big journeys start with small steps.